one of the biggest differences between an autonomous leader, a leader that creates big results, and one who's limited is the way to truly transform is not to fight yourself and to try to get rid of ways of thinking and ways of acting. It is,
what advice would you give to the leader that feel that if they are not in the company, the team collapses? What should a leader needs to master if they want their business to operate without depending on them?
it's very important for a leader to have a clear purpose and also to be committed to something bigger than themselves. A real leader is committed to something bigger, to have a company committed to something that makes a contribution to the world.
Bienvenido a El CEO Consciente, un podcast de liderazgo, desarrollo personal y conciencia aplicado a los negocios y la vida. El espacio donde las personas se transforman en líderes conscientes. Mi nombre es Fernando Flores. Bienvenido. Bienvenidos a este nuevo episodio. El día de hoy tengo el honor de presentar a un hombre que ha transformado miles de vidas alrededor del mundo. Él es Bentz, un maestro del desarrollo personal que ha ayudado e impactado miles de vidas en Europa, Estados Unidos, Latinoamérica, en Asia, y ha ayudado a muchos líderes a que puedan acceder a nuevos niveles de poder personal, de confianza y de un liderazgo mucho más auténtico. Él ha dirigido programas ejecutivos en empresas globales como AT&T, Nike, Intel, IBM y muchas más. Además, es coach y mentor de muchos de los hoy en día coaches o líderes transformacionales más influyentes en la industria. Con una mezcla de profundidad, de presencia y de sabiduría que solamente llega con los años, Kid ha moldeado culturas enteras de empresas. Hoy yo tengo el privilegio de que él ha sido mi mentor y mi coach en los últimos 6 meses por un entrenamiento transformacional que estoy tomando con él y que ya concluimos este fin de semana. Quiero que sepan que me siento algo nervioso porque esta conversación va a ser llevada en inglés. Él solamente habla en inglés, pero quizás voy a cometer muchos errores gramaticales de pronunciación, pero no me importa, se los voy a mostrar así tal cual, auténtico y genuino, porque creo que esta conversación tiene mucha sabiduría que compartir con ustedes empresarios, con ustedes líderes. Estoy seguro que va a ser una delicia esta conversación. Kid, welcome. It's truly an honor to have this conversation. You're welcome.
Gracias. It's my honor to be here to work with you and have this conversation. So thank you for inviting me.
Thank you, and you're welcome. First of all, for those people that doesn't know about you, who is Kid Bentz and what does he do?
Who is Keith Benson? What does he do? Well, I'm a trainer. I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not a teacher. What I do is create, and I've designed and I lead experiential transformational workshops. I work with groups, and I work with groups to assist people to break through old limiting patterns of behavior, old limiting beliefs and ways of thinking and ways of looking at the world that keep them boxed in and from being able to realize their full potential. So I've been doing this for many years, and I have led these kind of transformational experiential workshops all over the world, as you mentioned, for thousands of people, both businesses and individual groups. And so I've dedicated my life to leading transformational workshops for people. And I did this because of my own experience. I had a powerful experience in a transformational workshop many years ago, and I decided that this was going to be my purpose in life, to transform as many lives as I could possibly reach all over the world, and that's what I've dedicated my life to.
Okay. And what would someone need to know about you to know who truly is Kid Bentz and why you have this profound purpose to serve and transform people?
Well, I went to Stanford University, undergraduate and graduate school, and I taught at Stanford as a graduate student. I taught at Boston University, and I studied Western philosophy and literature and thinking. And for years, that's what I knew about. And in 1990, I went to Hong Kong and led the first training ever outside of Japan that was led in Asia. And in the 90s, I moved to Hong Kong, and for 20 years, I lived and worked in Asia.
Oh, wow.
So I have Asian thought and Asian thinking and Asian ways of looking at the world have had a big impact on me. I studied Taoism, I studied Zen Buddhism, and I learned to speak, not very well, but I learned to speak Cantonese. And so the Eastern way of looking at the world has had a big influence on me. And I coach people that the way to truly transform is not to fight yourself and to try to get rid of ways of thinking and ways of acting. It is to accept who you are, and then once I fully accept who I am, I can truly open up new possibilities. So to really know me, you need to know I'm influenced a lot by the Eastern way of looking at the world.
Nice. And there's a lot of teachings that from the Eastern, you are teaching us in Shashin.
Yes. So Shashin, I created Shashin, the 6-month-long program that you're a part of, when I was living in Hong Kong. And I created it because people there asked me for a program that they could have daily practices that would truly shift their way of looking at the world and their way of experiencing themselves and the world from resistance to the way life is or the way things are, to surrender and acceptance of myself and other people and of life, so that I experience, inner peace and fulfillment rather than constant conflict. So, yeah, and that came out of studying, as I said,
nice,
Zen Buddhism and also Taoism and other Eastern ways of looking at the world.
I don't know if you know Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson is the coach was the coach of the
Sure, yeah, Chicago Bulls coach, yeah.
And when I read his book, he inspired me a lot because he told about this conscious about being in surrender, about how the behavior of the team, to not control a lot how it's playing the teams, and instead of let the things be like how it's being. And I don't know, I think that he was a really conscious leader.
Very much, yeah.
Yeah. So the book inspired me to create the name of my business. Now with the name of the podcast, but because their conscious leadership and the way that he influenced and impact in the lives of their players.
Yes, yeah, I read his book as well.
Okay.
A long time ago. And I used to watch the Chicago Bulls when he was a coach. And so absolutely. He and the things that I was just saying are also very much part of what Phil Jackson's way of coaching, way of thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. And with all your 40 and plus experience that you have, what's the difference that you see in the leaders, about the leaders that are trapped in micromanagement, instead of the leaders that build an autonomous teams?
Well, the main thing is when the leader realizes that a leader's job is to create a context for people to succeed, a context that supports people in being inspired and growing. Their job is not to control and to give orders, and of course they need to do that sometimes. But the real job of a leader is to create an environment, a context of trust, so that people on the team trust each other, of honesty, so that people have permission to be honest instead of feeling like it's, if I'm honest, then I'm going to be punished. They create a context of commitment so that everybody is committed to what the team is about. They look and see what's going to support people in growing, what's going to support people in being inspired, what's going to support people. And they realize my job is to create that context so that I'm there to serve the team, not to have everybody, look at me, not to be the one who makes all the decisions, not to be the one who, is in control, who has to always be right. My job is to create the context for people to grow and develop themselves so that they love to come to work rather than, oh, no, I have to go to work, so that they're inspired to come to work. And they would come to work, they come to work because they know it's a place they're going to grow and develop themselves. So the leader's job is not based on what they do. That's not what's important. It's who they are, because that's what creates a context. And the leader, one of the most important things is that the leader is a role model for how he or she wants people on the team to be. So how does he want people to show up at work? Committed, honest, open, trusting, responsible, very big one. So that if the leader shows up that way, the leader will inspire people to follow in his footsteps. So it's mainly about the difference between doing and being. So a true leader is, what's important is who they are and the context that they create, not what they do.
Perfect. And the way that a leader can create this environment is first him being what they want in their teams.
Right, being a role model.
Yeah.
But also, one thing that's really important that I want to emphasize, and I think you know this yourself, is what's important for a leader is to listen. So the biggest complaint I've listened to a lot of teams talk about what's working and what's not working. The biggest complaint, the boss doesn't listen. The boss thinks he's always right. The boss thinks he's got all the answers. The boss, wants to tell me what to do rather than listen. So one of the biggest differences between an autonomous leader, a leader that creates big results, and one who's limited is their ability to listen and really hear what their team is saying.
Because what the team is saying reveals the context and the atmosphere.
Exactly right.
That he's creating. So it's really nice, and the leaders that is listening, you could see, like, when you heard the people, they are giving you the answers that you need to look to do something to it. I don't know how to say, but what I want to say is that I think a lot of leaders maybe resist or think that it's not important to listen, but at the answer of the team, they can give the feedback about how they are being and how they are creating the context that is limiting them or are helping them.
Right. But we talked about a little bit. We already mentioned it's got to be, for that to happen, it has to be okay for me to be for people on the team to be honest.
Yes.
If I get punished for being honest, then I'm not going to be honest. Of course, I'm going to withhold what I know. And leaders can be going on doing what they think is working when in fact it's just getting in the way if they don't really listen. But to do that, the leader's got to be willing to, give up being right, give up being in control, not have to be, like a big shot or somebody who is important. They got to be really willing to listen takes, right?
Yeah.
Self-awareness and humility.
Yeah, and it's like the thing that you said about that maybe when we hear the teams, we resist what the team are saying, but instead of it, it's better to surrender and hear what is appearing, and in the business, in the people, and now, how can a leader how a leader can create an environment of honesty where the people feels free to say what they think?
Well, yeah. Well, it's just got to. So creating a context means a leader is willing to be honest themselves and invites people. Says, I really want to hear from you honestly. So I want you to tell me the truth. And so if you tell the truth, you're not going to get punished. You're not going to get yelled at or scolded, because we need to be honest with each other if we're going to be a high-performing team. That's one of the most important things, is you have permission here to be honest. And so if a leader really communicates that clearly and demonstrates it himself, when people are honest, it's welcomed and acknowledged and appreciated, rather than, creating an argument or opposition. So again, it's setting a context and then being consistent in my behavior with what I say the context is. If I say one thing and do something else, of course, then people know it's not really, it's a lie. It's not really a context. So same thing, like keeping agreements. Keeping agreements in a high-performing team is one of the most important things that we can create that will assist the team to be high-performing. Is when we say we're going to do something, we do it. When we say we're going to meet at 2:00, we meet at 2:00, not 2:30, not 2:15. When we say we're going to get something accomplished, we do it. So very important to set a context in which people keep their agreements, and the leader keeps his or her agreements.
Yes.
The leader does what he or she says they're going to do.
Yeah, because I think that a lot of times, or a lot of leaders doesn't have doesn't know the power of the word, and when they break agreements, commitments, when they are doing this, they are creating this context of not commitment, responsibility.
Yeah, lack of commitment, and distrust also.
Yeah.
If my leader tells me they're going to do something, or they're going to meet me at a certain time, or whatever agreement they make, if they don't keep the agreement, I start not to trust what you say, and so I'm going to withhold what I think. I'm not going to be honest. If I can't trust you, I'm not going to be honest. So I'm going to hold back, and that's going to create an environment where people doubt each other, where people are not 100% committed.
I love it. So a leader, so leadership is about creating a context where, and that context is what are going to create the results that you want on your business and from your teams.
Yes, it's very it's something that most people don't really realize. Context is what creates the content. So it's the context that we set up that makes possible the results that we want. So we can be doing things that, are similar in either context, but it's the context that will determine what the outcome is, the results.
Nice. To all the people that are listening to us, I think this is deep. It's deep. It's a deep concept. I don't know how to say, but if you hear the profounding, see, if you understand this, I think that you are going to open a lot of possibilities to your teams, because it's not about telling what things to do. It's about creating the environment where the people can, I don't know how to say, florecer.
Flourish. Yeah.
Crear.
Right. Yeah. Exactly right. And the same thing is true in your family. So whether you have a family where there's love and harmony and understanding and cooperation, or arguments, fighting with each other, anger and all that, depends on the context. So what's the context you want to create in your family? Do you want to create a context of love and acceptance and openness and cooperation, or a context of competition and anger and making people wrong? So it's the context that will create the experience people have in their family. And in anything we do as human beings, context is what creates the content. So you're right. It's profound, for sure.
So what advice would you give to leaders, or maybe you don't give advice, but to the leaders that feel that if they are not in the company, the team collapses?
Oh, so that if I'm not here telling everybody what to do, then everything's going to fall apart? Well, first of all, that comes from a need for me to feel important, a need for me to be, looked up to, a need, and maybe unconscious need to be, the person who everybody looks to, and the person who people admire, and the person who is in charge and even dominates. So it's important for a leader to have enough self-confidence so they don't have to be in control all the time, so they can delegate, so they can trust other people, so that they don't have to make all the decisions, so that they give power to others. But that takes confidence. If I'm not confident in myself, I'm going to want to have all the power in my own hands, and I'm not going to trust anybody else, and I'm going to punish people if they make a mistake. It all comes from me actually not feeling confident in myself, so I have to prove myself over and over again. So you say, well, what is most important? For a leader to have, trust and confidence in themselves, but not so that they dominate and control, but so that they can share the control and the power in their company.
So it's important to a leader to work with their ego.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's another way to say it.
Because my ego is who tells me that I need to be important, so I need to be in the operation of the team, and I don't let be them.
Right. I have a need to be superior. I have a need to have everybody be less than me. If I have ego needs, then I'm not going to trust. I'm going to have a need to be important to people.
So to the leaders that are listening, if you have this problem that you don't feel the confidence to delegate, maybe it's because there's an ego need that is important to work to create this confidence to let go and delegate.
I'm not sure I actually answered your last question.
It
was? Okay.
Perfect. So what should a leader needs to master to if they want their business to operate without depending on them?
So to really have a business operate without me, it means I need to empower people to trust themselves and to make decisions on their own and not be afraid to risk. In a business, if especially a business in technology where you're looking for breakthroughs, it's important for people to be able to fail and not be punished for it, for people to be able to risk and not be punished for taking risks, and not be made wrong for taking risks. So if I want a business to operate without me, I need the same thing we've been talking about all along. I need to trust people and truly be willing to not be the only one who can make important decisions, to to empower people to take over if I'm not there. And the ego stuff you were just talking about comes into this. If my ego says, no, I need to be in control, I need to be important, I need to be superior, I need to be right, then I'm not going to be willing to let others take responsibility or be the ones who make the big decisions.
And what's the worst habit that you think a leader could have?
The worst habit?
Yeah.
Well, to think I'm always right and to not listen to what people are saying is the worst. And again, it comes back to do I have the confidence in myself to let other people grow, to let other people have an important place in the company, or do I have to be the one who looks good all the time, who's telling everybody what to do? And it comes back again to ego needs versus I have the confidence to empower and trust my team.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And in business, there's times where are chaos, but how a leader can find clarity in that moment?
Great question. So it's very important for a leader to have a clear purpose and a clearly stated purpose, and also to be committed to something bigger than themselves. So a true leader is committed not to themselves and to looking good and to getting rich, and that's all fine. But a real leader is committed to something bigger, and to have the company committed to something that makes a contribution to the world. Those companies that are really successful are ones that are making a big contribution to people's happiness, to people's ability to live the way they want to live. So if I have a purpose that's bigger than me, that's bigger than my own success, a really clear purpose, and I have a clear statement of my purpose, when things get chaotic, when things get, are not working, then I can come back to, okay, what's my purpose? Why am I doing this? What's my vision for myself and for my company? So I can come back to a commitment that's bigger than me. If I'm only committed to myself, I'm going to be very limited. If I'm committed to something that serves the world, that makes a contribution, that millions of people can take advantage of, then when things get chaotic, I can come back to, okay, remind myself, this is why I'm doing this. This is what's important for me.
Yeah. And sometimes there's difficult the decision that is aligned with my vision sometimes. And I've been there, but when you choose you take the decision that is aligned with the vision, maybe at first time you don't see the result, but it's important to trust that is going to be the alignment, and to trust that is the best decision because is the decision more aligned to the vision.
Well, yeah, and that's why it's important to have a really clear and simple vision statement that you can come back to when things are uncertain or chaotic.
Yeah, and I think this is something that we see in the trainings, that a lot of times the business owner or the leader
creates the vision or the mission, but just like a corporative way, or like disconnected, or not a true mission or vision. It's just because it has to do. But I think that the vision is important to this, to know what it's important to me, what it's profound and deep for me. But I think that if you have the clarity with your vision, you can enroll or make that the team fall in love about your purpose, and this way, like, wake organically the commitment of the people.
Yeah, exactly. If you can have a vision and you communicate it clearly of something that inspires people, where they feel, hey, I'm doing something here that not just to get a paycheck, not just to support I'm doing something here that makes a difference in the world, that contributes to people. Absolutely, people will come to work with a different mindset than if all I'm doing is following orders so I can get a paycheck, right? It's a completely different experience.
Yeah. Nice.
And that's what a real leader does.
Okay. So if you could teach to leaders one invisible skill that are not that never talk about in business schools or something like that.
Invisible skill, huh?
What skill it's important?
Well, I'm not sure what they teach, exactly what they teach in business school, but I'll tell you a skill that many people doesn't come easily, is giving feedback from a neutral place, so that I can give feedback when it's necessary. Because often in business, a leader has to give feedback about what's not working. They have to make corrections. They have to put in, right, a correction to what people are doing. And a lot of leaders are afraid to do that because they're afraid to hurt people's feelings, or they're afraid to damage a relationship. And so they withhold their honest feedback, and then things that need to get changed or solved don't get changed. So if I learn how to give feedback, not as criticism, not making people wrong, and not as praise either, that's not feedback. If I learn to give feedback just as information, and we have an environment where I'm committed to you, an employee, I'm committed to your growth, I'm committed to you doing well, I'm committed to supporting you, then I can be honest with you and give you honest feedback, which is not going to be damaging to our relationship. So that's one of the skills that I teach in my workshops, is how to give feedback from a neutral place. When I say neutral, I don't mean it's soft, or that I don't tell the truth. I mean from a not making people wrong place. So giving feedback is, I think, a valuable skill that a lot of leaders are not good at.
Yeah. There's a story about Phil Jackson with Kobe Bryant. And when Kobe was acusado.
Yeah, accused. Yeah,
he was accused for sexual abuse, and Phil Jackson said that he felt angry, and when he was confronting Kobe for things that the team, he noticed that his feedback came with angry.
right.
And Phil make a stop, and he questions him why he was feeling so angry. And he discovered that when he was a player and was in a trouble with the team, his daughter was not abused, but she has like an attack or a trying to abuse her, and he felt guilty because he didn't he wasn't with her. So he noticed that his anger is not about Kobe, but his past, and he wasn't with his daughter at that moment. And I think that it's important to like when something or someone in my team wakes in me or generates in me like resistance, angry, to look why I'm feeling this, because I don't know if you are agree with this, but if we give the feedback with this emotion, it will be difficult to give a neutral feedback.
Yeah, very much. That's a great example. Yeah, a perfect example where, which gets to a very, I don't know if you want to get into this at a philosophical kind of level.
Yeah, of course. I love it.
But so it's an example of projection. So when I see something in you, like in this case, what Phil Jackson saw in Kobe Bryant, when I see something in you that reminds me of something about myself that I don't like, that I resist, that I make myself wrong for, then I'm going to hate it when I see it in you. I'm going to get angry at you because you are a mirror for me. And so when you think, what are we? We're mirrors for each other. When you show up in a way that reminds me of things that I don't like about me, then I'm not going to like them in you. And that's what creates conflict and hatred between people. It's all, when I see something negative out there, it's negative for me because it reminds me of something about myself.
And if we see, or if we accept this point of view or this perspective, we can look our teammates as a blessing, because they are telling to us like what things we need to work on us.
Wow.
And if we do this, if we do this work, we create the space to transform. They transform too. I don't know if I.
Yeah. So if you create a space where I can be honest with myself and own, right, my own projection. I can own that, when I get angry with you, it's really that I'm angry with myself in some way. Yeah. Then we can we can have a profound kind of relationship. The Phil Jackson example is a great example, right? And it's an example of, what a really transformational leader, not just a good leader, not just one who creates results, but a real transformational leader is one who realizes has a realization like the one Phil Jackson had, hey, wait a minute, this isn't really about Kobe Bryant, it's about me.
Yeah.
And so, right, whenever I'm dealing with my team, when I'm willing to say, okay, what I'm communicating to you, I need to listen to myself, because what it really is about me. Then I can reach a much deeper level. So
beautiful. That is conscious leadership. I want to make you a question about something that I see in you. Is that the people maybe don't know, but you have 84 years old, and I can see you that you has like your vital energy. It feels when you are giving the training or when you are coaching. So I want to ask you, what have you do, or what are that habits that help you to be like this?
You mean, so what allows me to, even at my age, to have the kind of energy I have, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, it's not something new. It's something we touched on a couple of times already, and that is that I have a purpose. I have a purpose and a commitment to something bigger than myself. I'm not doing what I do. I'm not flying around the world still at my age because I need the money, or because I'm somehow driven. I'm doing it because, to me, it's important to make a difference in the world, and I have something to contribute. And so I'm clear about what's my purpose, and as long as if that's important to me, then I have no problem with with my energy or with my participation. So
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
well, thanks.
And to the people that want to I don't know, like, because I see a lot of leaders that maybe feel that they don't have energy, that are tired, that they don't have the energy. This is a beautiful, like, feedback of maybe what are happening to you. It's like you are disconnected with your purpose and what that thing that makes you feel alive and passion with life.
Right. You don't have it. You don't have any. You've given up on making a difference. You've given up on doing something that makes a contribution to the world. You've given up on doing something that really matters to you. If you have nothing that matters to you, of course, then retirement is what comes, naturally and easily. I quit. I give up. But if you got something that really makes a difference and it's important to you, why? I want to keep doing it as long as I can.
Yeah.
Still make a difference.
Yeah, and it's beautiful too, because you could has 80 years like kid and has their vital energy, but in your business you could make your people fall in love with your purpose too, and wakes the commitment of them that you want. So to the leaders that are listening to us, I think it's important to look inside and make clear what's your purpose and the reason that makes you feel alive.
Right.
How you want to contribute to the world.
Right. Why are you doing it? Not what are you doing, but why.
Yeah. So to conclude the episode, if you could plant a belief or perspective into the collective consciousness, what would it be to create a better world?
Well, for each person, if I could implant it, you mean? Yeah, for each person to say, this world and everything that's happening, is not happening because of somebody out there. It's not happening because of, the people who are different from me. It's not happening because the world is filled with evil people. It's happening because of me. I am responsible for what happens. And I'm not to blame for what happens. It doesn't mean I'm doing things that are, consciously doing things to damage. But I take ownership of what's happening in the world. And so I'm going to do whatever I can to make it a better place for everybody, which is basically what I said is my purpose. I'm going to do my job. I'm going to do whatever I can. If that means not using so many plastic bottles, if that means making sure that everybody, in my family is happy, it comes down to very small things. But I take ownership of, rather than being a victim. Most people, unfortunately, live life as victims. And when things are not the way they want them to be, they blame somebody else. And that's what doesn't work. So if the whole collective, if I could implant, if it's to be, it's up to me, and everybody's in the collective consciousness, it would, the world would be a different place, I think.
Thank you, Keith. I enjoyed a lot this deep conversation, and I think it's going to make the difference in all the leaders that are listening to us. So thank you.
Gracias.
And también gracias a Lorena, porque Lorena está aquí, es la traductora de Keith y estuvo aquí por si acaso nos atorábamos en algo. Así que muchas gracias, Lore, también por ser parte de esto.
Es mi honor. Gracias.
Gracias. Nos vemos en el siguiente episodio.
I loved it.
¿Yeah?
I loved it. It was natural.